This tutorial video is for practice 3A, setting up levels. In this practice, you will set up the levels required in the modern hotel project, including the floors, the top of the footing, and the parapet, as shown in figure 3-10 in the book. Step 1, we are going to open the project modernhotelstart.rvt. Remember, .rvt indicates that it is a Revit file. So I'm going to go to my Revit practice exercise folders and I'm going to look for Modern Hotel Start. I'm going to click on it and click Open. You can also double click to open it. Once the project opens, I'm going to go to the elevations and I'm going to open the north elevation. To open the north elevation, I'm going to double click on north. We see that the project has two existing levels, level 1 and level 2. These were defined in the template that we opened. We're going to zoom in on the level names. We're going to double click on level 1 and rename it as floor 1. So I'm going to double click level 1 and rename it floor 1. And then I'm going to press enter. It says, would you like to rename corresponding views? When it asks this, what is going to happen is if I say yes, it's going to rename the floor plan view over here from level 1 to floor 1. I am going to say yes. Notice that now this is called floor 1 in the floor plans and the ceiling plans, where previously it was called level 1. I'm going to repeat the process with level 2. Double click and I'm going to call this floor 2. Pay close attention to over here in the project browser. I'm going to hit enter and then I'm going to say yes. So now I have my views in the project browser called floor 1 and floor 2. In addition to renaming floor 2, I'm also going to change the height. Right now it's 10 feet. I'm going to change it to 18 feet and press enter and zoom out. Now in the architecture tab in the datum panel, so here's the architecture tab and then the datum panel is right here, datum panel. I'm going to click level and I'm going to create a new level. Please note that when you create new levels, you have to draw from left to right. So I'm going to, in this case, I'm actually going to offset the level instead of just drawing it arbitrarily. So I'm going to click on the green pick lines tool. And in the options bar, so this is the options bar, this green bar that pops up. In the offset, I'm going to type in 12 feet. Then I'm going to hover the cursor over the level line of floor 2. I'm going to make sure that the dashed line is shown above level 2, as it is right now. And then I'm going to click. The new level that was created is now called floor 3. I'm going to create additional levels until there are a total of 8 levels up to floor 9. So I'm just going to keep offsetting them. So that's floor 4, floor 4, floor 5, floor 6, you can see it right here, floor 7. Oops, and so mine went on top of each other, so I'm actually going to hit undo because I messed up. If that happens to you, just hit undo and we're going to start over again. Not a big deal, just make sure you're paying attention. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I now have 9 floors. I'm going to rename floor 9 as roof, so I'm going to click modify to get out of the command. Double click on floor 9 and rename it roof. I'm going to hit enter, and I am going to rename the corresponding views. In the options bar, I'm going to clear make a plan view. So I'm going to go back to architecture, go back to the level line, and I'm going to uncheck make a plan view. So remember I said that when I do this, it will not put a plan view over here in the project browser. It's just simply going to define a level here in which I can attach my building heights to it. So I'm going to set the offset to 5 feet, uncheck make a plan view, and then I'm going to create a level above roof. And notice when I did that, it did not make a floor over here, and then it's black over here, so that means there's no plan view associated with it. If you did it wrong, again, hit undo and try again. And I'm going to rename this parapet. And I'm going to hit enter. What's a parapet, you may ask? Well, let me show you an example. So the image that we're looking at right here is a roof. And you can see that this is the roof, and then it has a little wall that extends above the roof. This little wall is known as the parapet. You can see it again better in this picture. So here's the roof right here, and I can stand on the roof because it's a flat roof, but there's a little wall right here, and this little wall is known as a parapet. Now you may ask, what's the purpose of a parapet? Well, let's go to the internet to find out. So we can see here the purpose of a parapet. So it says it may be aesthetic, or it could have the function of hiding mechanical equipment, or it may act as a firewall, or it may prevent people from falling over the side of the building. So there's different uses for a parapet. I hope that you're as curious as I am, and when you hear words that you're not sure of, you can use the internet to find out what they mean. Let's go back to our exercise. So now I've made a view called parapet. Next, I'm going to add 2 levels below floor 1. So make sure that when you're taking your screen captures again, that you're doing an entire screen capture, and then you may zoom in just to show me a little bit more detail. But remember, I need to see everything. Okay, so here's floor 1. We're going to go back to architecture to the datum tab, and it says to make 2 more levels. One is going to be called basement. So we see from our figure that the basement is at -10 feet. So I'm going to repeat the steps I did before. I'm going to use pick lines, offset, I'm going to say 10 feet, and then I'm going to come over to floor 1 and make sure my blue dashed line is under floor 1, and I'm going to pick that. Make sure make a plan view is checked now because we do want a plan view for this. So this is going to be basement. We'll double click basement, and we're going to rename the view. Next, we're going to create another view, and this one is going to be called TO footing. And top of footing is at -12 feet, so I'm going to offset it 2 feet from basement. Now notice that the text overlaps and it becomes difficult to read. To adjust this, click on the level that you just created, and then click on the elbow, which then bends the line and places the text below that line. So now we're going to call this one TO, which means top of footing. And then we're going to say yes. And then really what we should do is the text shouldn't go through, or that line shouldn't go through the text, so we need to move the grips like I just did to the outside of the text. Okay, so make sure that you zoom out so that you can see all of the floors and that your screen capture shows all of these levels. And remember that when we define walls and inside of Revit, we're using these levels to attach our walls to. This is called the top constraint or the bottom constraint of the wall, and we'll talk about that more later.